Making headlines, President says that the country and its people need elected representatives who support development and work alongside the government. Health Minister says that 41 healthcare guidelines were established last year to ensure patients receive the same standard of treatment and care regardless of their location. And a total of 63 hectares of land is reclaimed under the third phase of the Hulumale land reclamation project.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Idham Naeem. President Dr. Mohammad Moiz says that the country and its people need elected representatives who support development and work alongside the government.
The President made the remarks while addressing a special campaign event organized by the ruling People's National Congress (PNC). In his address, President Muizu said work is progressing rapidly to fulfill the pledges he has made to the public. He said islands and cities therefore require mayors and councillors who will support development efforts rather than interfere with them. The President said that interference in the implementation of government pledges would delay development. He added that such actions could lead to political unrest, which he said is not something any citizen wishes to see. The President said he has visited the homes of citizens in various capacities and has a close understanding of the living conditions faced by the public. He said the government is therefore working hard to address the most pressing issues faced by the people. He also referred to the previous government's approach to fulfilling its pledges, including land allocation projects that involved reclaiming land before distribution. President Muizu concluded by stating that such development projects require sincere, honest and trustworthy mayors, councillors and members of women's development committees, urging the public to elect representatives who can support the government's development agenda.
Minister of Health Abdullah Nazim Ibrahim says that 41 healthcare guidelines were established last year to ensure patients receive the same standard of treatment and care regardless of their location.
Minister made the remarks while speaking on a podcast where he highlighted the importance of trust in the healthcare system. He said such trust is built through the establishment of strong standard operating procedures SOPs, adding that these standards must also be internationally recognized. Minister Nazim said the development of additional treatment guidelines along with the necessary training has been allocated funding under this year's budget. He stressed the importance of healthcare workers, particularly doctors, being well versed in these SOPs in order to strengthen the healthcare system nationwide. He said the implementation of uniform guidelines would ensure an acceptable and consistent standard of treatment for common illnesses across the country, with healthcare providers following the same treatment protocols throughout the Maldives. The minister also noted that the lack of adequate infrastructure remains the biggest challenge in expanding healthcare services across the atolls. To address this, he said construction of healthcare facilities is currently underway in several phases under a $323 million initiative aimed at improving access to health services nationwide.
Chemotherapy services for cancer patients have been launched at Ungu Faru Regional Hospital, marking a further expansion of cancer treatment services outside Male City. This becomes the third hospital outside the capital to offer chemotherapy services in the Maldives. Statistics show that Ra Atoll has the fourth highest number of registered cancer patients in the country. According to Asanda statistics, cancer remains the leading chronic illness for which Maldivians seek treatment abroad, highlighting the need to strengthen domestic cancer treatment services. As part of efforts to decentralize healthcare services, chemotherapy services have now been introduced at Ungu Faru Regional Hospital. To facilitate the service, the hospital has trained nursing staff with the assistance of the Oncology Department of Indira Gandhi Memorial Hospital, IGMH. 2 nurses have already completed training and a dedicated chemotherapy room has been established, allowing chemotherapy sessions for 2 patients at a time. The hospital has also opened registration for patients wishing to undergo chemotherapy. Patients are advised to contact the hospital in advance to arrange the necessary medication, as chemotherapy treatment plans vary depending on the type of cancer and individual patient needs. The hospital requires sufficient time to source required medication from overseas. Patients currently receiving chemotherapy elsewhere or preparing to begin treatment have been urged to inform the hospital accordingly. As the hospital does not yet have an oncologist on site, it is working in collaboration with the oncology department of IGMH. In cases requiring urgent specialist care arrangements will be made to transfer patients to Male as quickly as possible. A total of 63 hectares of land is reclaimed under the third phase of the Hulumale land reclamation project, with the government deploying additional dredging equipment to accelerate progress. The second phase of reclamation in Hulumale began on 22nd September 2023, aimed at allocating land to recipients under the Bimveria housing scheme. The first two phases of the project were awarded to Sri Lanka-based Capital Marine and Civil Construction. To expedite the reclamation works, the government later awarded the contract to Maldives Airports Company Limited, MACL. Reclamation work under MACL commenced on 10th November. An additional dredger was deployed in November to further speed up the dredging process. MACL utilized a trailing suction hopper dredger from Boskalis, capable of extracting up to 22,000 cubic meters of sand in a single operation. As a result, dredging of 40 hectares of land has been completed within 2 months, in line with the timeline set by the government. Upon completion of the reclamation works, the government plans to commence registration of land recipients under the housing scheme in accordance with the approved area plan. The handover of plots is scheduled to take place once plot demarcation is completed. The land draw for the third phase has already been conducted among eligible recipients. 7 different plot sizes will be allocated under the project, with a total of 698 plots to be dispersed. Authorities have stated that with dredging works nearing completion, the reclaimed land is expected to be made available in the near future. Minister of Construction, Housing and Infrastructure Abdullah Muttalib has said that some utility works in Gulifalo are being handed over to the Maldives Transport and Contracting Company MTCC and the Road Development Corporation RDC in order to expedite progress. The minister said the current government reviewed and revised the Gulifalo master plan after taking office, and that a Chinese company was awarded the contract to develop the island's road network in early 2025. Under the agreement, works include the establishment of water, sewerage and electricity networks, road development to modern standards, as well as the installation of a dewatering system and gas storage and distribution infrastructure. Sharing updates on the project, Minister Muttalib said the Chinese contractor was originally awarded responsibility for utility works across the entire island. However, he noted that the company is still in the process of securing the required loan to commence the work. To prevent delays, the minister said some components of the project will now be reassigned to MTCC and RDC. The minister said land has so far been allocated to more than 3,500 individuals in Gulifalo, with over 230 hectares of land already dredged. The minister also provided updates on land reclamation project in the Greater Male region. He said dredging works for Phase 3 of Hulumale have been completed, with water and sewage works scheduled to begin soon. With the completion of Hulumale Phase 3, he said reclamation works at Giravarfalo are now ready to commence. Preparations are underway to begin work within this month, and the land will be handed over according to the beneficiary list prepared by the previous government. He added that dredging works are expected to be completed by April as scheduled, and the land allocation to beneficiaries under the Housing for All scheme will begin this year. A total of 63 hectares has been dredged under the Phase 3 of Hurumale, while 160 hectares are planned to be reclaimed at Girawarafaru. Additionally, 1,009 hectares of land is being reclaimed at Rasmale. The minister said these large-scale reclamation projects will provide a long-term solution to housing challenges in the Male region. The Ministry of Islamic Affairs announces a series of programs planned for the upcoming month of Ramadan, focusing on religious awareness, information sharing, and public participation. The ministry said that, as in previous year, a range of activities will be conducted during Ramadan, with programs planned in both the capital and the atolls. Among the ministry's Ramadan initiatives, Ihya Forums remain its longest-running program aimed at disseminating religious knowledge and raising public awareness. Speaking on behalf of the Dawah and Guidance section of the Ministry of Islamic Affairs, Ahmad Rassam said that Ihya Forums will be held in more islands this year than in previous years. He said 8 Ihya Forums are scheduled to be held in the capital, while 11 forums will take place across the atolls during Ramadan. Rassam said the Ihya Forum initiative has been open to islands interested in hosting the program. Ihya Forums include religious lectures on various topics, question and answer sessions with the public, as well as the distribution of religious books and prizes. In addition, the ministry will produce video content during Ramadan to address questions from the public through social media platforms. These videos are aimed at providing easy access to guidance on religious matters that may cause confusion. The ministry also plans to hold special sessions for employees of institutions and associations, focusing on the importance of worship and how to spend time meaningfully during Ramadan. A special program for children titled Welcome Ramadan will also be held alongside a large public sermon in the capital under the same theme. Silver prices surged past the $100 mark for the first time in history, while gold has climbed to yet another record high as investors move strongly into safe haven assets amid growing global uncertainty.
On Friday, spot silver jumped more than 4% to just over $100 an ounce. The previous metal has now risen by more than 200% over the past year, driven by persistent supply shortages and ongoing challenges in expanding refining capacity. Gold also extended its record-breaking rally. Spot gold rose nearly 0.5% to around $4,960 an ounce after touching an all-time high earlier in the day. U.S. gold futures for February delivered climbed rose close to 1%, trading above $4,960. Analysts say demand for safe haven assets has intensified since the start of this year amid rising geopolitical tensions, concerns over the independence of the Federal Reserve, and continued uncertainty surrounding U.S. trade tariffs. Friction between the U.S. and NATO over Greenland has also added to market unease. Central bank buying and a broader move away from the US dollar have further supported gold prices. While the Federal Reserve is expected to keep interest rates unchanged at its late January meeting, markets are still pricing in 2 interest rate cuts in the second half of the year. As a non-yielding asset, gold typically benefits in a low interest rate environment. Other precious metals also posted strong gains. Platinum rose more than 4% to about $2,740 an ounce, with HSBC noting that investors are increasingly viewing platinum as a cheaper alternative to gold. Palladium prices jumped nearly 5%, trading above $2,000 an ounce. With geopolitical risks and monetary policy expectations continuing to shape markets, analysts expect volatility in precious metals to remain elevated in the months ahead.
A UN spokesperson says United Nations aid agencies have partially restored access to Syria's Al-Hol camp, but warned that insecurity continues to hamper full humanitarian operations.
UN Deputy Spokesperson Farhan Haq said the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees was able to enter the camp with Syrian government officials and make contact with some residents. Deliveries of essential supplies have resumed, including trucks carrying bread after a 3-day interruption caused by volatile security conditions inside the camp. Haq said water trucking services organized by UN Children's Fund were also delivered, helping to restore limited access to basic services. An interagency mission led by UNHCR reached facilities outside the camp perimeter to support the resumption of water services, though entry into the camp itself remained impossible due to security concerns. UN agencies underscored the need to ensure safety inside the camp and to facilitate movement of personnel and supplies between Hasaka and Kamishli.
Russia attacks Ukraine's two largest cities, Kiev and Kharkiv, early Saturday, officials say, with one person killed and at least 15 injured.
Ukraine's Air Force said both drones and missiles had been deployed in the assault on the capital. In Kharkiv, a frequent target 30 kilometers from the Russian border, Mayor Ihor Tarakov said 25 drones had hit several districts over 2.5 hours, with at least 11 people injured. Writing on Telegram, Tarakov said the drones had struck a dormitory for displaced people, a hospital and a maternity hospital. The latest attacks occurred after negotiators from Ukraine, Russia and the United States completed the first of 2 days of talks in the UAE, aimed at finding a resolution of the nearly 4-year-old war.
The Maldives wins the men's division of the inaugural SAF Futsal Championship after defeating Bhutan 3-1 in the 5th match of the tournament. The victory confirms Maldives as champions with one match still remaining, having won all of their matches so far in the competition. The match was played at the Nonthaburi Stadium in Bangkok. In the first half, both teams created several attacking opportunities. Bhutan adopted a defensive approach with counter-attacks, while Maldives maintained an attacking style of play. Bhutan took the lead in the 12th minute of the first half with Jigme Thuström scoring the opening goal. The goal appeared to motivate the Maldivian side, who continued to press forward and managed to equalize before the break. Abdullah Junaid Jenne scored Maldives' first goal from the edge of the box. The team went into half-time level. Maldives took the lead just 2 minutes into the second half. Ahmad Hamid Ahmade converted a free kick near the penalty area following a foul by Bhutanese players. Maldives extended their lead in the 16th minute of the second half, scoring their third goal to secure the win. With 15 points from 5 matches, Maldives are now uncatchable at the top of the standings. Second-placed Pakistan have 10 points from 5 matches and can reach a maximum of 13 points with a win in their remaining fixture. Their third-placed Nepal have 8 points from 5 matches and can reach a maximum of 11 points if they win their final match. As a result, Maldives has secured the SAF Futsal Championship title with one match still to play. The Maldives played their first international futsal match on 16th April 2004. Despite facing numerous challenges over the years, the team has achieved this milestone 17 years later, marking a historic moment for Maldivian futsal. Twice Australian Open champion Naomi Osaka pulls out of the Grand Slam ahead of scheduled third-round match on Saturday, citing a fitness problem.
Her opponent, Australian Madison Inglis, has a walkover into the 4th round. Japanese 16th seed Osaka, the 2019 and 2021 winner at Melbourne Park, said on social media that her body needed attention following her previous match against Sorana Kirstea, without elaborating on the issue. The pullout is a setback for Osaka, who has been returning to her best and made the US Open semi-finals last year. At Melbourne Park, Osaka made a huge splash before her opening match against Antonio Rusick when she entered Rod Laver Arena in a jellyfish-inspired outfit, one of the boldest fashion statements seen at a Grand Slam.
The Brazilian feature film The Secret Agent is nominated in 4 Oscar categories, including Best Picture and Best Actor for its lead, Wagner Moura.
The film, which tells the story of a professor who moves from Sao Paulo to Recife to start his life over during the military dictatorship, was also nominated in the newly created category of Best Ensemble Cast and for Best International Feature Film. For the Best Picture statuette, the film directed by Kleber Mendonça Filho will compete with Borgonia, F1 Frankenstein, Hamnet, The Life Before Hamlet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, Sinners and Train Dreams. Moura, in turn, will vie for the Best Actor award against Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon and Michael B. Jordan for Sinners. The Oscars ceremony is scheduled for March 15th in Hollywood.
That concludes news for now. Thank you for watching PSM News. Have a good day.